Welcome back to the Quick Save Podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Josh.
And today we are talking about Super Smash Brothers Melee! Man,
Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum,
what
bum,
a
bum.
game to talk about, am I right?
Yeah, really.
Let's just jump right into it, if you will, Josh.
I would love to. Hey, you don't know anything about this game. All right, Super Smash Bros. Melee is the second crossover fighting game developed by HAL Laboratory of Kirby fame and published by Nintendo. Really small-time indie developer, not really known for a lot at this time period. It's a sequel to Super Smash Bros. On the N64. That's right, there was one on the 64. We've got Melee on the GameCube. We've got Brawl on the Wii. We've got Smash Wii U, Smash 3DS, and now Smash Ultimate on the Switch, which is kind of it's like Smash 4.5. But this one, Melee, has all your favorite Nintendo characters like Ness, Jigglypuff, and Roy. Everybody's favorite. The OGs. They've been here the whole time. No, obviously we're talking to Mario, Link, and Pikachu, and obviously Mr. Game & Watch, the true heroes of Melee. But
if it wasn't for Game & Watch, we wouldn't have, Nintendo.
The other guys are in it, too. I'm not goofing around. Ness and Jigglypuff and Roy are also in this game. We'll get to the lineup later. But the gameplay is different. We're comparing, older fighters. It's not just, a one-on-one fighter like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, where it's you're locked on a left and right axis, and the most verticality you get is jumping once, and that's it. This game is a completely open space, a completely open 2D space, and there are a bunch of different maps, and you're going to fight each other on these big maps, and they're all themed after Nintendo locations. So it's Mushroom Kingdom and
Zelda's Castle.
Yep, Zelda's Castle, very famous level, stuff like that. Up to 4 fighters at a time can fight. You can play single player against computers, or this game is most oftenly known for multiplayer, playing against your friends, beating them to a pulp with Mario, and showing them that Mario is the best one.
Usually someone at the sleepover gets dominance and gets to take the guest room over everyone else.
It's exactly correct. Somebody beats everybody else and everybody leaves. Everybody goes to bed that night feeling really sorry about it. Platforming and maneuvering are a huge part of this game, where they aren't in most traditional fighters back during that time. Another difference from your standard fighter is instead of a health bar counting down, so getting punched and you losing health, instead, when you get punched, there's a percentage meter that goes up instead of down. That percentage meter is your knockback meter, so if I'm at 300% knockback, I get hit by an attack that's going to launch me back pretty far, well, it's going to be times 300%. It's going to shoot me into the freaking moon. And the way you die in this game is not by losing all your health, because there's no health bar. When you get knocked off the edge of the screen, you die and then respawn. So there's a lot of things immediately that differ it from a normal traditional fighting game. There are different game modes. There's a timed mode, so you can set. There's a lot of settings in this game. You can change how long you want to play. You can change how many lives you get in stock mode. But so time mode is you just play for a certain number of minutes, and then each kill you get by knocking someone out grabs you 1 point. Then if you fall out or by your own volition, you lose a point, stuff like that. Then there's a stock mode, which is I think probably the most famous mode. This is what they play in tournaments, stuff like that.
Yep, that's what I grew up playing.
Yep, you have a set number of lives, and then once so if we both have 3 lives and I kill you 3 times, I win. Pretty straightforward. And then there's a custom mode where you can change a bunch of settings and what items spawn and stuff like that. And then I would like to give a shout out to coin mode. All the coin mode fans out there know what's up. Coin mode is if my character punches your character, they shoot out a bunch of coins. I have to pick up the coins. Whoever has the most coins at the end wins.
The interesting thing about coin mode is that if you punch someone and you have a bunch of coins spew out, those coins just don't go to you. It goes to whoever gets there first.
Yeah, you could punch them, and then player 3 could go steal all the coins, and then you'd go punch player 3 and steal their coins. It's like you remember back in the day when you would shake the kids down for their
lunch money.
For their lunch money. Pretty similar to that, I guess I would say.
Need that turkey sandwich today. Give it.
I'm getting the extra carton of milk. Give me 25 cents. Most people know this game for the multiplayer aspect. Obviously, probably most people listening to this have played it in their childhood or had friends who had it. I didn't have Nintendo consoles growing up. I had a DS, but I played Brawl with some buddies a ton. And I played a decent amount of Melee when I was a little kid too. So, and the thing about this, a lot of people remember this from their childhood. Not just that, there are still tournaments that take place to this day.
Yeah, it's a major hitter when it comes to tournaments.
Yeah.
I know that there's gaming conventions that go on For sure,
Huge
you will
streaming-
see a
huge-
Super Smash Brothers Melee tournament.
Yep. A huge Twitch channels. The Big House does Smash streams all the time. It is not died out, and it probably never will. There are thousands of people still playing for tons of... There's cash prizes. There's cash prize tournaments still happening. This was in EVO most recently, I want to say 2018, maybe a little older than that. But yeah, like recently, I mean, within the past, like five-ish years, Melee still played at major fighting game tournaments. It's here. It ain't going away. There is not just the multiplayer aspect. There's single-player modes. There's classic mode and adventure mode, which I think the adventure mode kind of got lost in the dust here a little bit. Maybe not really fondly looked upon here. But so classic mode is going to be kind of your standard arcade ladder.
That's what I grew up playing was classic mode. I went through every character in classic mode.
Yep.
It's kind of been like the standard for
So
Smash.
there's like, I don't know, I think there's like 10 levels or something like that. So each level it'll be like, hey, fight another character. Okay, now you're on a team. You and Peach are on a team, and you're going to fight Kirby and Donkey Kong. And so you have team battles. There's giant battles where one enemy is giant and does a bunch more damage than usual. Yeah, they mix it up a little bit, but it is essentially an arcade ladder where you're going to go from opponent to opponent until you get to the final boss, which, depending on your difficulty, can be Crazy Hand or Master Hand, or I think both if you do like the hardest.
Yeah, the hardest I believe is both.
I think so. Then there's Adventure. I like Adventure a lot. It's silly.
Yeah, I had never played it, and so when we went in and you're like, let's do adventure mode, I'm like, sure. I have no idea what to expect.
It's silly. I had a lot of fun with it. It's like, Smash Brothers. What if I made it mainly about the platforming and less about the fighting? Does that sound fun? Maybe not.
Definitely sounds Nintendo.
So level 1 is like Mushroom Kingdom. And there's a bunch of huge Goombas. And you can punch and kick and use your moves on the Goombas, which is very funny. So you platform through, it's pretty much level 1-1 from Mario. There's items, you can pick up trophies, we'll talk about those later. So you're like moving left to right. It's kind of like a race. It's like an auto-scroller. So you're just going through this level, trying to get to the end. Okay, so now you beat the Mushroom Kingdom adventure portion. Well, now they're going to throw in you a fight with Mario and Bowser and Peach, or something like that, right? Where they're going to give you a match that is themed to the world. So something like that. So Captain Falcon's on the F-Zero world, and Kirby's on the Kirby world.
And Donkey Kong's on his...
Yeah, there was like
one of two worlds.
There was 2 Donkey Kong levels, right? So yeah, you have these platforming portions, and then you have these fights. So it's instead of just being fight, it's kind of interspersed between these different little modes, which is fun. I like the mix-up. I enjoy that a lot. In the later Smashes, obviously a lot of people like Subspace Emissary, which was the story mode for Brawl. Smash 4, I don't think, had one, but Ultimate does. The story mode for Ultimate is so much freaking fun. I played the crap out of that story mode. That was the first thing I did when that game came out, was play the crap out of the story mode.
Ultimate, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not, but like I got into that and I was like, I'm playing this entire thing through.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Super fun. There are actually people, this is a sidetrack a little bit. We both watch Alpha Red. Hey, do you ever watch when he did the Nuzlocke?
Yes,
oh,
they're so
gosh.
good.
So freaking good, though, right?
Link to Alphared's channel down below.
Oh, we're going to link to Alpha Red.
Oh, yeah.
Just small-time YouTuber, Alpha Red. We'll put a link down below. No, he would do Nuzlocke. So Nuzlocke is like a Pokemon run where it's like permadeath. If your Pokemon dies, you have to release it, stuff like that. So he would do that. In the story mode, you unlock fighters. And then he would play his fighters, but if the fighter died, he would, like, his rule for his Nuzlocke was you couldn't use that fighter anymore. Super fun. And it is tough.
Yeah,
it is tough.
Doing a Nuzlocke in Smash is so scary because... Man, one wrong move, you lose a character that you are like good with.
Yep.
Could change the entire run.
Yep. So you had mentioned when you were playing classic mode as a kid, you would play through classic mode as every character. Well, that gets us into our next section here. We're going to talk about unlocks. You unlock tons of stuff in this game, which is kind of the draw. I think that's always been the draw of Smash Brothers. It's not just like, if you these old traditional fighting games, Street Fighter stuff like that. You play. It's just fighting. That's it, right? This has this level of collectability where when you unlock levels or new characters or trophies or art to look at, something that I think, the later Mortal Kombat games have kind of followed in that path where it's like, here's the concept art and the music and unlock all this cool stuff, right? But yeah, there are 11 unlockable characters you unlock either by playing the game in different ways, so playing classic mode with every character unlocks Marth, I think, right? And then beating... I think it was classic mode without dying as Mario unlocks Dr. Mario, stuff like that. So there's these requirements there. Or there's specific requirements, so it's like beating a certain event smash. It was like number 29 unlocked us Ganondorf or something like that.
Young Link was 29.
Okay, sure.
I still remember some stuff.
And then, or if you play for, 40 hours, unlocks Mewtwo or something like
Yeah,
that.
and then if you want to unlock Ganondorf without doing the events, you have to play for 300 hours.
Woof. And I mean, they kind of did that in the later ones, but it's less bad. So Smash Ultimate is based on the number of fights. So instead of being the number of hours, I think it was the number of battles you did. So you could kind of power unlock stuff if you really wanted to. Let's talk about the full roster here. So we'll start with the originals. The original game had 12, I believe, which was Mario, Donkey Kong, Link, Samus, Yoshi, Kirby, Fox, Pikachu, Luigi, Ness, Captain Falcon, and Jigglypuff. So it's kind of a who's who of Nintendo hotshots. Kind of they're taking their big properties, making them into a big mishmash. That was the concept of the original, right? So now here are characters that are new to Melee. There's Peach, Bowser, Ice Climbers, Sheik and Zelda, which is kind of like two characters in one. Dr. Mario, Pichu, Falco, Marth, Young Link, Ganondorf, Mewtwo, Roy, and Mr. Game & Watch. Which is like, that's a lot, man. That's
a whole other roster.
That is, yeah, that's like, you doubled the freaking amount of characters. But yeah, so what are the differences between these characters, right? Okay, well, each has their own weight, determining how high they jump, how far they get knocked back, how much damage they do. So a light character like Pichu can jump really high and move really quickly. But a slow character like Ganondorf, who's got a very high weight, he cannot jump very high, but he deals a ton of damage. That's kind of the trade-off. So it's like, do you pick a slow character that can deal a bunch of damage, or do you pick a fast character that can move and maneuver around better?
Yeah, in our battles, I think that factored in a lot. A lot of times I pick a lot of later characters that are fast-moving.
And I pick Captain Falcon, who goes, show me your moves!
Yeah. You know, each character has their own strategy. Kirby is one of my people that I go to when I play Smash, and that's because he's light fluffy, but he has this move where he becomes, you know, a solid rock foundation.
Yeah, you drop down. Straight down on a character, and the nice thing
does tons of damage because he's so heavy.
Nice thing about Kirby is he also floats. He can like jump essentially like 6
he's the
times.
highest jumper in all of Smash.
Yeah, he can jump like 6 times essentially, which is crazy. But yeah, not only does each character have their own weight, they all have their own color schemes. A lot of them are references. So Mario has like a Wario skin, Peach has like a Daisy skin, Captain Falcon has a Blood Falcon skin for all my F-Zero fans out there.
Yeah.
And then each character also has their own completely different moveset. Each character has different. So Mario, if you hit B as Mario, he shoots a fireball out. If you hit up B, which is your recovery move that like launches you way up high, with Mario, he does like a jump, like in the game, and it makes that noise. And
if you hit someone on the way up,
it makes a coin.
You get coins.
Yeah, you get coins. Yep. So when I hit B as Mario, I'm going to shoot a little fireball. It's going to bounce along the ground. If I hit B as Captain Falcon, I do a Falcon Punch, which just punches a really strong punch that knocks everything away. Anybody who's in the little area.
Hit B as Pikachu, you do Thunder Shock. You get a little arch of lightning.
Yeah, you get a little ball of lightning that shoots across. Yep. Each character is going to control differently, have different moves, have different special moves, different recovery, how high they can recover. Each unit is crazy. It's crazy how different they all are. Even back then, I mean, when did this come out again?
2001.
2001. It's crazy the amount of variance that exists in these characters. And there are characters who are just subtle differences like Fox and Falco, where they have pretty much the same moveset, but Falco, his blaster it deals more damage and it has knockback, whereas Fox's doesn't have knockback. There's these slight differences even between similar characters. Like Ganondorf and Captain Falcon are the same character. Ganon just deals way more damage and is way heavier of a character. But overall, pretty much the same moveset. But let's finally talk about those unlockables other than the characters. We've got levels. So I think I was reading that this game has the same amount of unlockable levels as characters. It's the only Smash game to have that.
Jeez.
It has 11 unlockable characters and 11 stages that you can unlock, which is cool. But my favorite forgotten level from this game is Pokefloats.
Yeah!
Which is a bunch of, like, Pokemon balloons that are moving from, like, right to left. Or I think it's, like, up and down. I don't remember. It might be up and down. But a bunch of these Pokemon floats come in, and they're all shaped like it's Snorlax and it's Chansey, and you have to platform across these like
so good
maneuvering things. It's a really stupid level. I wanted it in Smash Ultimate so freaking bad, though. Man, I was sad when it didn't get didn't get brought over. There's characters, obviously, like we mentioned. There's music. You can unlock music and listen to it. That's kind of a big thing that's always been big about the Smash series, is being able to unlock music and listen to it.
I think Ultimate has really put that as like the top thing that they wanted to make sure
Yeah,
really
like,
got some
there's
light.
like freaking 2,000 tracks in Ultimate. It's crazy. But yeah, the whole kind of thing of this game was you could get music, video game music, and listen to it. And especially back then, that was a hard thing to do. YouTube wasn't really, like a big thing back then. Like now we can listen to whatever video game track we want. Back then, that wasn't a thing. So that was kind of a big deal back then, unlocking music and being able to
And then
listen
some
to
of the music even had special orchestral
it was like
editions
remixes,
made for the game.
Yeah, remixes or special arrangements performed specifically for this game, yeah. And then the other main thing is trophies. You unlock trophies by playing classic mode or
Which,
adventure
since
mode.
Melee has been like the big staple.
Yes, so it's taken different forms throughout the games. So Melee has trophies, and then there's a gallery where you can look at all the trophies, you can rotate them, look at them, because that's the whole bit was kind of Crazy Hand, quote, the plot of this game, right? The plot of all Smash Brothers games is that all the characters are like little toys, and that you are playing with the toys, right? That's what Master Hand and Crazy Hand are. They're the hands controlling the toys, right? And so they're little trophies, like you're playing with little trophies. And so you can look at them. They all have like hidden little information. They'll give you a little paragraph about, hey, this is Squirtle, and Squirtle was first featured in Pokemon Red and Blue, and blah, blah, blah. So they give you all this stuff about unique characters, sometimes even characters that didn't come out in American games. There's plenty of, like, I think we unlocked a couple trophies that was like a character from some obscure Japanese title.
Yeah, they'll say like Japanese game only.
And you can get those either by playing the game or there's like a slot machine.
Yeah, we get to gamble.
Yeah, so it's like
children's game.
The
with
first
gambling.
one, it's like 1 coin, 99% chance for a new trophy because you have no trophies, right? But then that as you keep spending more coins, that percentage chance goes down, so you have to spend more coins to bring the chance back up. I can't imagine grinding all those out. I'm sure you're just spending like 999 coins to get like a 10% chance or something. But in Brawl, instead of trophies, it was stickers.
Yep.
And you could look at the stickers. And then in Ultimate, it is Spirit. They're called spirits. And I think you can still look at them and stuff like that. But they're usually just images. But same thing, they have like a paragraph. It's the same concept pretty much. Let's talk about, so we talked about kind of the plot a little bit, where there isn't really a plot in this game. It's just you fight through battles and fight Crazy Hand or
Master Hand
or Giga Bowser or whatever, right? There's a couple bosses, but let's talk about our mains and who we like to play as in Smash Bros. Just in general. This one, modern one, can be whatever.
So, I mentioned it already. Kirby is one of my mains that I play now. I went through most of Ultimate with him in story mode. When I play with friends, I usually pick up Kirby and go that route because I think he's just fun. He has a lot of different moves. He can steal moves because he has the suction ability.
Yeah, he can suck people in and steal his B move becomes whoever he sucks up.
Yep,
B
and
move.
that's super cool.
It's funny to do Falcon punches. Yeah. Kirby is pretty good.
Kirby just gives a lot of variance, and you can't get that with some other characters. So it's just nice to do that. I do have 2 other mains that I really play with. My other one is Lucina, which is based off of Marth.
It's slightly different.
Slightly different, but...
What are they called in Ultimate? They're called variations or something?
Yeah, variations.
Something like that, where it's like... Or Echo Fighters.
There we go.
So they're called Echo Fighters, which is like, it's the same character, but they have a slightly different moveset, but it's pretty much the same character.
Or like their attack does something that's slightly different.
Yeah,
you
so
know?
like Peach and Daisy are Echo Fighters, and Lucina and Marth and Samus and Dark Samus.
When I try to be competitive, I try to play with, Marth or Lucina, because you can kind of switch one out for the other, but I try to stick with Lucina. She's a bit faster than Marth is. Makes it a little bit easier. And then my last one is a special one from Ultimate, and that's Joker from Persona. I was so ecstatic when they brought him into Ultimate. The first thing I did is I sat, I think, for a solid 3 days playing nothing but matches with Joker, just learning and trying to be the best I could with him. And, I'm not the greatest with Joker, but I love it too much to give up.
So my 3 mains, this is maybe just going to be telling you who I am as like a person. Number 1, Cloud.
Solid.
He was broken when they released him in Smash on the Wii U, which I played so much of, because that's how DLC characters work. You have to make them broken to make people spend money on them.
Cough, cough, hero, cough, cough.
every DLC fighter pretty much.
Piranha Plants.
Sora's like the most broken character that's
Cough,
ever
cough,
existed.
Sora.
Like the most insane
Cough,
character.
cough, Sephiroth.
But yeah, so I played as Cloud a ton on the Wii U one, and I was happy when he came to the new one. So, sorry, I guess we should explain about Ultimate. Ultimate has every character.
Yep. That's why it's the Ultimate Edition.
That's why it's the Ultimate Edition. So in Brawl, I think all the characters from Melee made it into Brawl, I'm pretty sure. No, Ice Climbers didn't.
Yeah, Ice Climbers
So that was
the
the thing.
one.
Ice Climbers and Pichu, I think. Maybe Pichu was in Brawl. Ice Climbers were not in Brawl, period. Or maybe they were. Maybe we're just wrong. Anyways, throughout the games, characters have
Come and gone.
come and gone. They're not every character's in every Smash game. All your big ones, obviously, Mario's in every Smash game, Peach is in every Smash, or Peach is in every Smash game except the original. DK's in everyone, stuff like that. But yeah, there's been some where, so like Solid Snake and Sonic were in Brawl, but they weren't in Smash on the Wii or the 3DS. But then they came back for Ultimate. So yeah, Ultimate has them all. So I played as Cloud a ton. Love Cloud. Great. Cloud.
Sword fighters, man, they're great.
Sword fighters are great. I used to play all the time as Shulk. Not really into him as much anymore. He's fun. If he's kind of, you got to know what you're doing.
Yep.
He can use the Monado to change his form. So he's got like a speed form, so he runs around really fast. Or he's got, mainly what you're going to be using is Smash form does huge knockback damage, and Buster form does huge percentage damage. So you won't launch further, but you'll get their knockback percentage way higher. And then you use shield form when you're at high damage, so you can protect yourself a bunch, but it makes you move really slow. But instead, tried and true, like they always say, Roy's our boy. So my second is Roy. I played so much Roy in 4 too.
Fire Emblem characters for the win.
See, I know Marth in Melee, definitely competitive Melee scene. Marth is always the go-to. And they always play as White Marth. The color scheme they always pick for Marth is white. Some kind of like, he's the ultimate Marth. If you don't play as White Marth, you're going to lose a game. So I was never about that. I remember, this was in college, I played at a tournament in college, and I played as Roy, because I was just messing around. I'm not there to win this tournament, not a chance. I'm playing as Roy, and some dude came up to me, and he was like mansplaining. He's actually, if you're going to play a sword character, you should play a Marth. Marth's way better than Roy. I'm like, dude, I'm just vibing, man. Can you, like... I'm here to have...
Back off.
I'm here to have fun, man. I'm not here to, like, become a professional Smash player. It's okay. It's okay. But Roy's super fun. Versatility. I like his up B more than Marth. Marth's up B recovery move is very vertical, whereas Roy's is kind of more to the side, which I think is kind of more helpful.
Like, the big thing is, like, you know, Marth, Lucina, Roy, they're all very competitive characters, but in order to...
I think Roy not so much so.
Roy probably not so much.
I think Roy and Marth, especially in the Ultimate scene, I think not as much. But yes, for like Melee, yeah, Marth was like the one.
But the big thing is that, like, the competitive characters usually have some big downside.
Yeah.
So for Marth, you know, in Melee, it was the fact that his recovery was absolute garbage.
Very good.
You had like one shot, and like even if you timed it perfectly,
he's got a very
you
vertical,
might not make the ledge.
He's got a very vertical recovery, which can be good in some situations. But when you get knocked off to the side, shot off to the side, going up is not going to help you move left or right. So, and then my final main. So we've got Cloud. Like I said, you might be like, oh, Josh has a type. Cloud, Roy, Little Mac.
Little Mac!
I like the lads who do the damage very much, so.
I played around with Little Mac for
Talk
a while.
about bad recovery, man. That's the big meme for him is bad recovery. But the amount of damage that little boxer can output is insane. He's crazy.
I played around with him on Ultimate for a while, and I was just like, man, if I get like just the right hits in, I could just take someone completely out.
He's fast, deals a lot of damage, no recovery. That's how I want to play. It's like the mono red of Smash Ultimate. It's just like go in and like if you kill him, you kill him. If you die, you die. That's how it is. But those are my mains. I have a bunch of like characters I like to play as. Mario I really like.
I think everyone has like favorites that they like messing around with but just aren't good with.
I could come up with a list, I'm sure, of 10 that are like probably my top played. Well, let's talk about the price. Now, it's a GameCube game. It only came out on the GameCube, so you can imagine.
It's also tournament heavy to this day.
Yeah, people still play it heavily to this day. You can imagine it's not going to be a cheap game.
Let's talk about original release here.
Original release, loose $51.26, complete $57 even.
That is insane.
That's if you wanted to buy a brand new PS4 game, you could instead not do that and buy a copy of Melee. If you're lucky to find one for $60, I'll add. These are price charting prices. I will say price charting and what you can actually buy on eBay and around in your local places are two different things.
I've been lucky. I have owned, I think, 3 different copies of Melee, and within those 3 copies, I've all found them at garage sales for like dirt cheap, and I've like traded them off for like other things and stuff. But there's no way I would go out and pay like more than $65 for this game.
Yeah, this game is good. I wouldn't pay this much for this game.
Especially with Ultimate being
For a
out.
long time, you know, it's not a regret, I would say. For a long time, I called people who bought Melee at $60 suckers. Well, now Melee is like $80 at my store, I think, something like that, because it's obviously just highly in demand. I used to call them suckers when they bought it for $60. I don't call them suckers anymore, but it is just like, I can't believe people are spending $80 on Melee. Like, that's insane.
The copy that we played
Yeah,
was the copy I had from my childhood.
nice.
It's very intriguing to see that what my mother probably paid for when I was a kid is still the same value right now,
Yep.
20 years later.
Yeah. I will mention also, you're going to be like, wow, $60 to $80. This is crazy. I will mention again, we try and mention it for GameCube stuff. If you clean the disc too much or if it gets too scratched up, it just won't work anymore. And it won't play.
GameCube discs are scary, man.
They are terrifying. It is like owning a plant collection, and it's eventually they're all going to die, and you're going to be sad.
Especially when we start dealing with like these really high
In-demand
value ones.
Yep. Yeah, it's buying something like this online is so dangerous because if it doesn't work, yeah, I don't know. Like, that's just it, right? Like, you could try and get it cleaned, and if it might work, it might not. I've seen GameCube games that look brand new, have disc read errors. If they get cleaned, if you buff them too much, you can just buff the information clean off the disc because they're so small. So that's why you're always going to see that with GameCube. Stuff's always expensive, and it will only get more expensive as more and more discs break and can't be fixed.
Overbuffing and disc rot are real things that affect many, many games.
Yep. I bought like a $50 lot of old sports games from work at one point. They were all like $3 when I bought them. Most of those are like $6, $7, $8 now, just because the prices keep going up. So, all right, let's talk about that. Was the original. So the original was 51 loose or 57 complete. Let's talk about the bestseller liner. So this is going to have a sticker on the bottom. It says best seller.
Yeah, the original release says for multiplayer, I think, or something like that.
Yep, and this one has a big sticker on the bottom front of the liner. It says bestseller. That one's looking at $54.23 loose, and then $67.50 complete.
Once again, absolute crazy.
I also
Crazy price.
I'll be honest with you. I did a little research. I don't know why these are so differently priced. You would think there's slight differences, maybe a couple bucks different. But I'll be honest, I have no reason why this is $67 loose when the original is $57. We'll get to a little bit later. I have kind of a guess, but I'm not sure. Okay, the not for resale copies. Let's talk about that for a little bit. I don't think we've ever had a game before on the podcast that is a not for resale version.
Yeah, rare occurrence.
Not for resale games are usually like demo cartridges or like things you would not be able to buy usually.
Not for resale games come in a couple different varieties. So like you said, it's usually things that you're not supposed to be able to buy.
Yep.
Or sometimes they are like bundles. So like you'll get something and it'll include that game.
Yep.
And so to make sure that you're not like,
Just
doubling
buying-
your money
yeah,
and
just
stuff.
buying it to resell it.
Yeah, they'll put not for resale in the back. I own a couple, more than a couple, I should say, of not for resale items. Some are very rare, some are not so rare.
Yeah. So
It's a gamble when it comes to not for resale.
yeah, I was gonna say there's some crazy expensive games that have not for resale versions, like Metroid Fusion, I think, or maybe I think it's Metroid Zero Mission, Smash Melee. Like there's crazy expensive stuff that has not for resale versions.
Yeah, the one I like to always think about is Knights on Saturn.
Sure.
So Saturn games came in these big, huge, bulky cases, and then there was a tester disc, I believe, that was sent out to stores or something, and that was the not for resale one. I might be wrong on that. But it came in a regular jewel case. There's like barely anything to it.
So the not for resale version of this game, lose $50, complete $60. You would think, I don't know, you would think it would be harder to find, right?
Yeah, you think it'd be the hardest one to find.
My guess on this, honestly, for this one, my guess is that it is so pushed. This game was so huge at the time. I'm sure there were tons of demo copies of this floating around. I'm sure there were so many demo copies in GameStops and stores across America that they're probably just decently
Yeah,
common.
this is an era where you had playable demos in Walmart, Target, GameStop,
Yep.
Kmart, eBay Toys. You name it, there was a playable demo somewhere.
Yep.
It was, gaming was huge. It was physical. It was all over the place.
Do you mean KB toys?
What did I say?
eBay toys? It sounded like you said eBay toys.
I meant KB. Yeah, that's weird.
Anyways,
Whoops, eBay Toys coming at you.
so then the final one,
Which is my childhood copy version.
GameCube Player's Choice. Player's Choice is the yellow label. It's kind of the red greatest hits of the PS2, the platinum hits of the 360.
Any greatest hits player's choice games, you have to sell a certain number of copies before you're able to make those.
Yes, so it's like after you sold 2 million copies, now it can become a greatest hits version.
And usually the greatest hits versions are cheaper.
Usually, yes, usually. Okay, there's a few I can think of that are different. So Fable 2, if you bought Fable 2 on the 360, that's just the standard game. If you get the Fable 2 Greatest Hits version, that comes with the DLC. So there's a couple I can think of like that, or like the Greatest Hits will be the most recent patch. It'll fix all the glitches, stuff like that, right? Because just the newer version, right, has the bug fixes. Player's Choice Loose 66, Complete $73.54. The cheapest one is equal to our most expensive of the other three, pretty much.
Yep.
67 for the bestseller Complete, 66 for the Player's Choice Loose. My guess here is the Player's Choice is patch 1.02, which eliminates some glitches, which maybe accounts for the price difference. I
It
don't
also
know,
probably
honestly.
might be what the Smash community uses for their tournament
It's very,
play.
very possible. Yeah, very possible. That's the one they use, so it's more in demand as well. Let's give our thoughts on probably one of the best fighting games to ever get printed on a Nintendo
No
console.
kidding. So this was the Smash game that I learned to play on. It's what really introduced me to it. I was able to have the luxury to go back and play the original at some point. But this is where I learned. This was Training Grounds level 1 for me. It was so much fun to just return to this. It's been so long since I played Melee. It's such a titan in gaming history and
It is.
game fighting.
It is a titan. It does stand among the rest.
And the beauty of it all is it still looks as good as I remember it did. Now, we played on a CRT. If you play old games on CRTs, they tend to look 100 times better than if you were to play it on a modern one.
Yep.
Scanlines do tremendous things, and the reason they look better on CRT TVs, which are the big two-back ones for people that don't know what I'm talking about, is the fact that that's what they were made for. They were made for scan lines, lasers going up and down, making pictures, all the goodness that CRTs are. It's just what makes them look so great.
I agree. We played like pixel game. We played Shaq Fu on a CRT and on a standard HD TV, and it looks way better on a CRT. A lot of stuff does from that era. But yeah, so I had a ton of fun playing this. Obviously, one of the hallmark GameCube titles. This was released pretty early on in the life cycle of the GameCube. Obviously, we'll get to some development issues later on that their kind of tight schedule here put them on. But this was fun. It's tough. It's definitely tough, especially kind of getting used to some of the controls compared to like the newer games and stuff like that. But it was fun. Those event Smash levels, we spent a ton of time on
We
those.
spent so much time.
Man, there's like one where it's like, beat 6 characters, and then you would lose on the 5th one like 3 times in a row, and you're like, I'm just wasting like 30 minutes trying to beat this.
Or it's like you have like 3 minutes to beat these characters are very tough.
Yeah, there was
Good luck.
There was one I did where it was like, you have 7 seconds to beat Captain Falcon. That's like the whole level. You have 7 seconds to beat him. Go. But yeah, this is definitely a game where you know, fun, easy to play, hard to master.
Yes, very much.
You'll have to get used to the controls and, you know, the different characters, whoever you want to play as. Event Smash also locks you in as characters sometimes, so you might be playing as characters you don't know how to play as, stuff like that. But yeah, still a ton of fun though.
So we say this Smash didn't have an actual like campaign or story mode to progress
Yeah,
through.
just like the classic and adventure are both level-based kind of deals.
And that's different than the 3 or 4 that came after it. It makes it much more about learning the characters and playing with friends rather than, you know, the fighting games we see nowadays where maybe they do have like some weird underlying story, but it's more about just, you know, learning a single character
pick one character.
Yeah,
and
pick
play
one
through the
character, get
story.
good.
Yeah.
And like, there's something in the beauty of the fact that it stands so far out that it becomes its own identity.
Yep.
No one goes, "Hey, what's your favorite classic fighting game?" And they're like, "Oh, I like Mortal Kombat." And you're like, "Oh, I like Smash." And people are just like, "That's weird." No, it doesn't do that, because people are like, "Oh yeah, Smash? That's like the basics of fighting games."
Yeah, Smash, dude. It's the great mediator, man. It is. If you're really into fighting games, you can love Smash. If you're 5 years old, you can love Smash, right?
Everyone loves Smash. No one says that it's weird that you like it.
I realized when playing, I'm a bit more rusty than I thought.
Yeah.
I think we both kind of had that realization. Obviously, I played a ton of Smash Ultimate when that came out a handful of years ago, but this really showed me how out of touch I was with my skills. I definitely was taking some goofy deaths, and
This is the first time that I went back and played on a GameCube controller. It's been forever.
tell me this, you're not a big fan of the GameCube controllers to play Smash.
No, I don't mind them at all. I think they're great. It's just that I haven't picked one up in forever.
Sure,
Because
that's
a
a lot of people's preferred way to play Smash is with a GameCube controller.
Yeah, I have Pro Controller for the Switch.
Yeah.
And so when I was playing Ultimate, I was playing on the Pro Controller. And, when you start playing on a single controller for a long time, you kind of just memorize where everything is on that controller. You learn the feel and all that, and you stop worrying about other controllers. So
Yep.
it was more about, it's just like, man, I suck with the Nintendo GameCube controller now.
No, for sure. But yeah, it was fun to relearn some of those characters. I have some experience with Mario. That's kind of how I test when I have to test stuff out at work, because I play through Mario. But yeah, we didn't unlock Roy or Game & Watch, so I couldn't really play as them, who I obviously have more experience with. But I still had a fun time playing as Mario.
So it's crazy how far Smash has come since Melee. I mean, so much has changed in the 17 years between Melee and Ultimate, and the 21 years that it's been since it's been released,
Yep.
and how far the Smash community's come. But it's no surprise to me that the controls have changed somewhat within those 21 years. It's a lot of time for a lot of growth to happen, and it was a tough adjustment to get used to it. It's not just like, oh, I picked up a different controller and I have to, memorize where buttons are again. It's like, no, the way characters control has changed. It is, oh, wow, Kirby does a moderate amount of damage in Ultimate, but because, his weight's so light in Melee, he doesn't do that much. But he's quicker. And we noticed that, like, there's, like, some characters that were quicker in Ultimate than they are in Melee. And there's, like, so many factors that have, progressed or changed.
So many things changed over the years. Yeah, it's insane. There's no way we could list it all.
It was just really a hard adjustment for me to relearn all this in, like, a quick amount of time. I still had tons of fun with us playing against each other. Man, I was sucking hard there. You were winning games left and right.
It's tough, man. It's tough. I agree. You kind of mentioned the controls can be kind of rough at times. And yeah, they definitely changed as time has gone on. But I honestly think that overall, this game has responsive and quick controls, and that's what still makes this game popular.
Yeah, for what it is, to this day, Melee is still a very well played game, and you have still total control. There's no latency. Everything functions amazing.
So Brawl came out on the Wii.
Yep.
That was like 2008 or something like that.
Yep.
Right? Brawl came out, super floaty. The physics are completely different. It is infinitely slower than Melee is. Melee's a very fast, quick game. Brawl slowed it down a ton. People hated Brawl so much. They made Project M, which is a mod for Brawl that makes it more like Melee.
I love that.
Kind of speaks to the power of Melee, right? That a new game came out, and next one in the series, people disliked what they changed so much, they made a mod to make it the one they liked again.
Yeah, they took 7 years of progress and were like, nah, scrap that.
See ya. We'll do it in freaking 2 years, man. Bye. But no, seriously, I mean, I've seen in college, I saw kids haul CRT televisions across a college campus in minus 15-degree weather through the snow to play Melee with slightly less latency because they didn't want to play on a flat-screen TV. That dedication from the fans is ever-present, which is good and bad. I mean, every Smash game since Melee has been judged very harshly.
I think Ultimate has been the first one since Melee that the fans were on board with.
People have kind of accepted Ultimate, like they're like, it's not as fast as Melee, but it is still like, we accept this as a worthy replacement.
It's been a long, hard road for that game in terms of the fan base.
Yep.
Because there were people that were on board initially, then there are people that weren't, and it was just kind of like, will they, won't they type of ordeal.
But the nice thing was, devs were present, and they were changed. There's so many patches for Ultimate, it's insane. They fixed so many things and changed this and changed that and nerfed this and buffed that. And
I just remember all the Nintendo Directs where Sakurai's like, this is going to be the final installment, and then the next one comes out, he goes, in the next installment.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they claim Ultimate's the final one, that they're not going to do another one. Well, Sakurai for sure isn't going to do another one. But yeah. So let's talk about some fun facts about Melee. It's the GameCube's best-selling title, sold over 7 million copies.
That is no surprise.
Probably still selling copies to this day. I know I'm still selling copies in my store.
It's Mario's first appearance in a game that has a higher rating than E.
That's super fun. Mario punches people. He's no Mario ain't for kids anymore, man. Mario punches.
Yeah, he's not stomping on plants and Goombas. He's hitting other people.
Mario hits now. We've decided. So, Hideo Kojima, he wanted Solid Snake in Melee. He said, "Boom, put my lad in there."
Put him in.
They ran out of time. Miyamoto, who was co-director for this game, he wanted Sonic in.
Put him in.
They ran out of time.
Darn.
And even beyond that, they wanted Banjo-Kazooie and James Bond in.
Put him in.
Licensing issues. Couldn't get Banjo or James Bond. The Wario and Wolf and Lucas.
Put him in.
Ran out of time. Studio decisions they didn't want to do. Lucas. Sakurai wanted to do Wario right. He didn't want Wario just to be like a reskin of Mario. But a lot of those characters did make it in. I mean, Snake and Sonic were both in Brawl, the next one. Wario, Wolf, and Lucas were all in Brawl as well, I believe. I think Lucas was in Brawl. Maybe I'm making that up.
I know for sure Wolf was. I remember having to unlock him.
Wolf and Wario were both for sure in Brawl. So, I mean, a lot of these characters where they go, we want them in. They eventually did get him in. Kind of happy they didn't get James Bond in. That would have been really weird.
Yeah, he would have been the oddball out. And I'm sure there's people like, James Bond? Nintendo?
Well, I mean, GoldenEye obviously was a huge success. On the console,
I think that's where it really derived from, is they wanted to keep going off GoldenEye. Because, I mean, it's 2001. N64 had just, stopped, really.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So. All right, and then our final little piece of trivia here is that if you look at the Metal Mario trophy, you can see a reflection of the Yoshi's Island level, which is kind of fun. I think if you do a lot of digging, there's so much of that stuff in the trophies. It's like the reflection on Mario's eyeball is blah, blah. I think there's one where it's like the reflection on Sonic is Metal Sonic or something, right? Like something like that. So there's tons of hidden little secrets like that in the trophies.
The cool thing is in the trophy room as well. I mean, you pan out from the trophies. There's like this bookshelf behind there.
Yeah, there's like little hidden stuff. We saw there was like a GameCube on the shelf, and there was a Game Boy Advance, an original Game Boy on the shelf. So they kind of represent all the Nintendo stuff back there, which is cool. But let's talk about what we liked and what we didn't like.
All right, look, my favorite thing, and it's gonna sound real weird, and I'm aware of that. My favorite thing about this game was hooking up the system.
Valid.
Now, the reason I say that is because it's a wave of nostalgia for me. I don't normally have a GameCube hooked up. I usually will go to a Wii to play my GameCube games, but we wanted to do right by Smash. We wanted to play on a GameCube. Well, man, pulling that out, finding controllers, getting the room set up to sit down and play, it brought me back, man. Oh my goodness.
Well, like they say, there might be a little dust on the bottle, but don't let that fool you about what's inside.
That's right. Sitting and playing wasn't something that we felt we needed to complete for the podcast. It was something fun. We were enjoying ourselves. We had a great time. We were messing around with a bunch of stuff. Any game that can make work, especially for people that have podcasts like us, or, maybe are doing other things with Melee, tournament people. Any game that can go from work to it's now fun to play and it's a game within that space is phenomenal. There's something you've done right. You've hit the nail on the head, and you are just succeeding upon success. My overall least favorite part, and I mentioned this, was, the controls were just very frustrating for me. It was very frustrating to have played so much in Ultimate and had like a a knowledge of how things move and the move pool and how characters react, to come back to this stage within the game series and basically be put back to level 1, basics again.
It's all different. It is even in the slightest ways. Things are faster, slower, controlled differently, knockbacks different, right?
And that's not saying that it was a bad game or I had a bad experience. I think no matter what, you're gonna have frustrations in some games some way. And for me, it was just this. Smash, 10 out of 10 all day long. I don't think any complaint I could make me not want to play this game.
Yeah.
How about for you, sir?
Yes. I hated Smash Brothers. I wanted to die.
Boo down.
Boo. No, I'm kidding. What really got me is, I had same as you, a lot of nostalgia, not plugging in the console, but playing this game. Like I said, I never really owned Melee, but I did play it all the time at a friend's place with some buddies and in college too. And it really does remind me a lot of the great times I had in college playing this and also Smash on the Wii U. I would leave my Wii U at my friend's dorm room. That's how often I went over to play Smash with him.
Yeah.
I would just leave it. I would just leave it. It was better for me to leave it there than to plug it and unplug it in my room every day. But yeah, I think my favorite part of this game was honestly just sharing the experience with you. This game is completely defined by the multiplayer aspect of it, and I was very happy to play it with you. We both obviously had a ton of fun playing it and suffering through these catastrophic losses, dying and resetting all over again. Yeah, I think this game really embodies the spirit of casual and at times not so casual when we're beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, you can just flip back and forth. You could go from I'm gonna goof around to I'm gonna get serious.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It'd be like, oh, I'm gonna play. We unlocked Marth. We both played as Marth and had just probably, thankfully, not recorded, the worst Marth mirror match anyone's ever seen. Neither of us had any clue what we were doing with Marth. It was really bad.
The worst part was it was so close all the time.
Yep.
It was like we were both
good.
one move away from winning.
It was not good. But what really stood out to me, same thing as you, that I didn't really like, was I struggled with the control scheme. There's a lot of verticality in this game that I feel like is maybe kind of not present in some of these later titles. There's a lot of levels where it's like, climb up. There's a small platform up here, climb up. And I'll be honest, such finite levels of control are not entirely impossible. They're just really hard. So there's the escape level in Classic where it's escape through the tunnel, right?
Or the ice climber level where you have to climb up the mountain.
It's very vertical. Moving up on those platforms is not easy. I found that to be very difficult at times. Jumping, double jumping, up B, recovery, falling, dying because of it. Yeah, I had a lot of difficulty with the verticality and just kind of the control scheme in the vertical space. It is one of those things, I think you kind of mentioned this, it is something where we just probably need to practice. If we had played Smash for a week, I'm sure we'd be...
It'd be a totally different story.
It'd be a totally different story. We'd be like, this game controls great. And it does control great. We just weren't super used to it at the time.
I think our assessment is very fair to anyone that hasn't played Melee in a while, anyone that hasn't ever played Melee.
Yeah. There is a learning curve, and you've got to get kind of used to that. Like we said, we played Smash Ultimate all the time back, a couple of years ago, and now here we are trying to play this, and we're like, the controls suck. Well, the controls don't suck. They're just something we need to get used to.
It's a frustrating experience that you have to overcome.
Let's talk about why we think this one deserves to make it on the backlog.
Is there a reason it doesn't deserve to be on the backlog?
Much. Well, here. Melee was a very genre-defining fighting game, changing the very nature of what a fighting game could even... Smash 64 put out the rough draft, and Melee came in and gave a masterclass in how you do a fighting game like this correctly. If you haven't played Melee, you should definitely seek out... I'm sure there are local clubs if you're in kind of a big area.
If you haven't played Melee, seek out help.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that, but if you haven't played Melee, I'm sure there are clubs or tournaments or local game nights in your area. I know there are local places here who still do Melee tournaments.
Oh yeah, there's one that happened just a couple weeks ago, I think.
Yep, but I would recommend getting together with some folks and playing this if you've never played it before, just to see what you're missing. This is one of the most revered and popular games on the GameCube, and for good reason. So many future titles would then go on to base their gameplay on some aspect of Smash, whether it be the multiplayer or the character crossovers or even the ambitious story. We've got games like Digimon Rumble Arena 1 and 2, which are I think Rumble Arena 1 might even been before this, but Rumble Arena 2 is a big arena fighter like this, where you play as Digimon running around a big map and fighting each other.
I mean,
you've got Shrek Super Slam, which is like this in 3D. It even has a version of Final Smashes before Final Smashes even existed.
Sony wanted to get on it, so we had Sony All-Stars.
Sony PlayStation All-Stars. Even what the Nickelodeon game, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, just came out. That came out like freaking a couple months ago. What's the Multiverses is coming out, right? Multiverses
Yep.
WB's crossover fighter. These Smash Brothers type games, like, they set the kind of mood for what a fighting game like this could be, taking your IPs and throwing them into a melting pot. But this is the grandfather to so many games and concepts, and has been awarded tons of awards. Game of the Year back when it came out. I think it was number 6 on IGN's like best 100 games ever list.
There's a reason it's still $60 today.
Absolutely correct. Melee is required playing if you're a Nintendo fan. Just period. So that's why it deserves to go on the backlog, is because it is one of the most revered games, still played today, still talked about, still influencing games.
Still loved.
Still loved. This is the one to play. If you're going to play one, this and Ultimate are the ones to play. But I think that's going to be it for us here on the... We could go on for another 5 days about how much we love Melee and everything more about Melee.
Let me talk to you about Kirby and its variants.
Exactly. So that's going to be it for us here tonight. My name's Mario.
My name's Luigi.
And this has been the Quick Save Podcast. Links down below. Bye-bye! We didn't do a speedrun in this episode of Melee, and that's okay. I wonder what a Melee speedrun looks like. We'll see you guys on Melee episode 2.
Dude, you like Smash Brothers? Gross. I hate Smash Brothers.